Enterprise Education Specialist, Apples and Pears Limited. Tanisha, good to see you this morning.
You too.
Yeah, this time we're meeting under more subdued circumstances. The last time I saw you, you had a microphone in your hand and a lot of passion backing that. I'm sure it's that same sort of passion that you have when it comes to dyslexia.
Yes.
And I know you've been involved in the business of educating, helping people with dyslexia for how many years now?
Well, I found out I was dyslexic when I was 7, so I'd say I probably was helping my friends quite a long time ago. But from about the age 16, I took on this role called a peer motivator.
Sure.
Which is about supporting other people with learning disabilities, learning differences. And then from there on, I've just always done that. I mean, if you Google Tanisha dyslexia, you'll find tons of things on different platforms. I just think it's an important topic. And it's important for society, and it's also important for our GDP to make sure that we're making sure everyone's looped in and capable, really.
We'll expand on that as we progress on the conversation, because I don't even think I'd connected the dots as far as, making sure that our students are well equipped, those who have any learning challenges, to make sure that they can also effectively contribute to the country. Rosen, it is good to see you again. For the uninitiated, when we talk about dyslexia, what are we talking about?
Dyslexia is a reading and writing challenge that's usually is identified either in children or adults, and so basically that's it. But we classify it under disability as well, so as a learning disability when it comes to the global context. And usually you find dyslexia kind of showing up in a child who probably is at the very age that you should be expecting that they can be able to articulate certain words, be able to identify, write them, spell them out, and these children are having challenges to do that.
Around what age would you say that is?
I mean, you could literally start identifying really from five and a half. You should be able to kind of start seeing the signs. Is your child age matching the level he is now? What are some of the words he should be able to kind of be identifying and be able to spell them out? And so these are certain signs that you can look out. If you're a parent or even you're a teacher, these are the things but often in time when it comes to our settings, when that happens and it progresses, then it's like we start to label them like, oh, this child is being lazy.
Yeah. He's
not taking lessons seriously and he's not putting up their best, and nobody's thinking that. But what are the other ways that this child can learn? Is there anything going on? Do we have this child assessed or screened? And what if they are assessed? What are the interventions in place for the child?
That's right. Because Rosen, when you were last year, we were getting into the history of how you even got to know that you were dyslexic and the support that you have. In fact, you say in school there was no support, and I know exactly what you mean. I feel as though I was probably in school with a few people who probably were dyslexic, but they were dismissed as Rebecca said, we were born, and then that's the end of the story. Forgotten about, no interrogation as to why they can't catch up. But Tanisha, I'm guessing maybe your experience was a little bit different. Was it in a different jurisdiction where you discovered that you were dyslexic?
Yes, but I grew up with my grandmother. She owns New Hope School. She passed away now, but she created New Hope School out in Manproby, just behind Colibri Teaching Hospital. But we were in England, which I think was where the opportunity came to screen me early. However, I didn't need to be screened. I think my dyslexia was just screaming out.
Would you say it was on the more maybe extreme end?
Yeah, like I still to this day make specific typos. Like if 2 words that follow each other in a sentence have the same last letter and first letter, I write 1 word and I can see 2 words, and it's like I know it now to catch it. But as a child, that was exactly it. It was a sentence that said I like cats and dogs. ANDDOGS became ANDOGS, and no matter how many times my teachers would pull me up about that or whatever, it was the same thing. And one day they just had me screened, and then they spoke to my grandmother, had me screened, and so I did have a different opportunity. But she was a headmistress. She was still Ghanaian, so you can imagine growing up with a Ga headmistress for a grandmother. So it's not like I was having any more comfort. However, I just think because she understood education and she understood what she needed me to do, she put things in place to be supportive and to make sure. For her, she was probably making sure I couldn't escape doing my homework.
Okay.
So she put in all the facilities. So it's like, okay, you know, you said you couldn't read it. Why? You didn't color it with the colored marker so you could see it better? Or you didn't read it slowly? You didn't use a ruler under the line so that the words don't jump? So she would actually use that to ask me why I didn't finish reading. As opposed to baby me.
Was that helpful, that methodology? Did it help in your schoolwork?
So I think it did, because ultimately, the point of the matter is I'm a first class student. I'm always top of the league. At the end of school every day, I'd come home and she would just put me in front of books. That's actually a child's worst nightmare, right?
That was my worst nightmare, for sure.
Exactly. And we lived next to a library. So believe it or not, if she didn't have the opportunity to get books, she would just give me the Bible or the Quran from the house or wherever. Like, she'd give me anything.
Just read
whilst I'm cooking. Right? And now, obviously, that wasn't the most fun thing. But now, as an adult, I read at 650 words per minute if I read in the style that's appropriate for me, which is where I only see one word at a time.
Interesting.
So now technology has caught up with what I need, and I read faster than most people. I'm a professor. I'm an academic. I have an MBA. I'm doing my PhD. I love books. I love words. I love reading and writing.
You both are very, very, very busy individuals, and we'll come to your methodology very quickly, because I want us to just quickly recap Rosalind's experience, which was different to yours. And time check, it is some 11 minutes to the top of the hour until we're saying goodbye. So we want to get as much out of this conversation as possible. Rosalind, your situation was different. They just thought, oh, this one is a lost cause, so let's not bother. Although you were brilliant by all standards, because when you were actually put in the right place, or the right place for you, things were different. Just recap for us quite quickly what your experience with dyslexia was in Ghana.
I mean, yes, obviously my experience was different from her. You're a very fortunate child, you know. But for me, that had my primary and JHS education here, it was different. It was about name calling, like, you're lazy, you stupid, you damn, blockheaded, all those things, and nobody really taking interest in you. So as a young child, you go into school and you're going with so much fear in you. There's going to be dictation, and I'm going to get all wrong, and I'm going to see the akrukomoti red pen on
and
my,
if you're in a school
paper.
where you get lashes, you prepare your backside or your palms for a few lashes.
So yes, I was getting
just a traumatizing experience.
It's traumatizing. I remember those times when you get one thing wrong, you receive 2 canes. And so let's say we're dealing with 20 words here. You imagine how many canes I'm getting before going back home. They kind of made a mark around my legs and all that, all because of this. And so my experience was quite horrible. And then when you come back home, the home is also the same. You open your mouth to talk, and everybody like, this is not what we're expecting. You should improve on your academic performance. And so everything was just much to my academic performance. And so nobody really took time to kind of say that, what is she good at? What can we do? And that is what we are raising the awareness on about dyslexia, that parents, we need to be observant.
Sure.
The school needs to be observant as well. Aside the academics, how can we help our children to be better off, to bring their creative side up, to bring their innovative thinking up? And that is very important for us to note. Secondly, we also know that kids can do very well. And so early identification is key, and then early intervention is key. And that's why when we come to Ghana as a whole, we need to do something. And so our upcoming program that we are doing, that is the more reason why we do the Dyslexia Education Stakeholders Forum, is to really have that conversation on a higher level so that we see as a country what we can all do together.
Amazing stuff. And we'll get the full details before we let you ladies go. And Tanisha, so then you tie that all to the GDP of the country, because if we are already discarding students because we think, oh, this one's lazy, this one doesn't, we're not tapping into the resources. Let's say, for example, Tanisha, you found yourself in a different school, different place, for example, you were just labeled as a wabon, or it's just lazy, or whatever it is, then we wouldn't be able to tap into the resources you're now bringing to the table in 2023.
Exactly. I mean, I want to read you something. Sure. This is about the state of California, but dyslexia is dyslexia, right? So dyslexia and its consequences are estimated to cost California approximately $12 billion in 2020 and $1 trillion over the next 60 years. Now, let's look at this. So, for example, to estimate the cost of dyslexia in prisons for 2020, we utilize data on prison population. And you end up with a total cost of prisons to California, of dyslexic people who become prisoners, for $12 billion. Research suggests that nearly 50% of the prison population actually has dyslexia. So think about how many people are just being called bad, whatever, turned into badly behaved people, because, you know, there's this thing about the self-fulfilling prophecy. If you call a child bad, the bad is the only option, so they'll be bad, right? So think about all those costs. And then the total cost attributable to the needs of dyslexic learners is actually only 5.5 billion. So 12 billion is being spent in exchange for 5.5 billion. Now, with the necessary spend, they already project a boost of 0.3% to their GDP just from beginning to actually address the needs of dyslexic young people.
And the reason being is, for example, you look at the likes of Richard Branson. So if Richard Branson has not been Richard Branson but ended up and say on the street or prison, what would the UK have lost?
Exactly.
That's the simple question.
And that is why conversations like this are very important. You think, there you see the flyer, we're talking about dyslexia. You're probably thinking we're talking to parents about how to identify maybe dyslexic traits in their children, but we don't even connect that to the wider picture, you know, and where we find ourselves at the moment as a country, as far as our economy is concerned. These are the kinds of conversations that we should be having, and that's what's going to be happening at this event. Tell us more about it, when it's happening, where it's happening, what we can expect.
So the Dyslexia Education Stakeholders Forum started last year, where we bring together very high-level decision makers, parents, dyslexic individuals. So we have Tonisha, who is actually on our board, and she's a dyslexic as well, coming, or Chame Kwame, Nana and Sako. So all these people are coming to share their experiences. Then we have the Parent Intervention and Assessment Panel, where parents are going to talk about when they started finding out their kids who are like 13-year-old and 20-year-old, how was the support? What support did they get? And how was the home like?
Sure.
And to use their experience to encourage other parents. And of course, the assessment will let you understand what procedures you need to take as a family in a school for a child. And then we will kind of bring it down to education, which is like rethinking education, addressing the need of dyslexic. We cannot achieve inclusivity when all learners are not addressed when we're talking about inclusion.
Sure.
And so this panel is going to really delve into policies, methodologies, pedagogies in teaching, and the best practices out there that we can follow as a country. And so from there, we will make an extract and then give it to the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service. And hopefully with other agencies on board, we can make a great change in our education landscape in Ghana.
Amazing stuff. Tanisha, will you be speaking at this
Of course,
event?
I'm actually a host. I'm
Okay.
co-hosting
Okay.
Kwame Opoku.
Okay,
Very
exciting
excited,
stuff.
yeah.
Okay, it's happening again when?
It's on the 11th, Monday the 11th.
Monday, the 11th of December.
At the British Council, and it's strictly by invitation. But people can register now on our website,
Sure.
www.africadyslexia.org, and register to join us online.
And
So
we
it's-
insist on that. We're actually over capacity.
Oh, okay. So you're at capacity at this point.
Over.
Yeah.
Over capacity.
Yeah.
Is there an opportunity to tap in online? Anything
Yes,
like that
That's
happening?
what registration is
Yes.
for now.
Okay.
Yes,
So we go to www.
africadyslexia.org, and then they can register for the forum, or if they follow us on all our social media channels from LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, we will be streaming there as well. But they should bring us more support so we can do this to a larger audience next week.
Rosalie, when you say more support, what does that mean? Okay, I'm getting you.
Money. So agencies that are hearing this, or organizations, individuals that you really passionate about education and the well-being of a child, we're calling you to come on board to support us next year, because next year's forum is going to be mind-blowing.
Amazing.
I mean, to be fair, last year's was mind-blowing. This year's is mind-blowing.
Even more mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's a consistent mind-blowing going on. And I agree with Rosalind about more support. And I think that especially from any organizations who know that they are in their business to cater for other people, to support other people in their growth and their learning journeys. And dyslexia is something that affects a person from the day. It's a neurobiological thing. So it's from the day they're born to the day they die. They'll always be dyslexic.
Right.
So if you train entrepreneurs, you coach ministers, you teach people how to park a car, and you believe yourself to be interested in the learning and development of others, then you should be engaged in this, because it's 33% of people, right? One in five. One in five people are dyslexic. So you're already dealing with dyslexic people.
Right.
So tune in and engage, because actually this is about how good you are as a trainer. If you want to be able to say, actually, I have a 100% pass rate, you will not get 100% pass rate if you don't deal with those 1 in 5. So this is just as much about your career progression and you being better at what you do as it is about the learner being able to achieve what you're trying to give them.
Very important. We'll all be tuning in December 11th. It's on Monday. We'll register at www.africadyslexia.org.
And starting at 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
To 3 p.m. Thank you so much, Rosin. Thank you so much, Tanisha, for coming. And hopefully we can have more of these conversations. It's truly, truly important. Thank you so much for stopping by. All the best for Monday.
Thank you.
And you head